In today's video, I've got a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and the glass lens on the back on this particular one has cracked and broken. So what I'll be doing here is tearing it apart, or taking off the back cover to replace that glass. So to begin with, you'd probably want to have a heat source. This blue mat that's in the video by CPB is currently set to 75 degrees Celsius, which is a tad too hot on this particular model of phone, as I'm definitely having a fair bit of dramas keeping my fingers on there. So you could probably get away with about 60 degrees Celsius. And then I'm using a thin metal pry tool that's being dipped in isopropyl alcohol to soften the adhesive. And from there I'm just working my way around the phone to remove this back cover. This is particularly the long way to do it, but also it may save future headaches. The reason why I'm removing the back cover to then replace the glass is that so no more glass fragments will fall into the camera itself, and then producing further damage from there. What I usually see when that lens is damaged is that you'll get bright spots when you go to take photos, or the other way it usually goes is that you cannot actually focus the camera. So it does take some time to get into here. So if you're untrained with disassembling phones, I'd probably expect this part here to potentially take you up to about 10-20 minutes, especially if you're being on the side of caution. So I'll just keep prying away, and then I'll keep talking when I get to the next part. Excellent, so the back cover has been successfully removed. Now from here I'm just going to use a pair of tweezers, and I'm going to pry this lens or the remaining glass out of here. Luckily for us, it does seem to be double-sided adhesive in, as opposed to being glued in, which will mean that removing it should be relatively straightforward to do. Here as well, you could also use just a simple small Phillips head screwdriver to also remove the glass. So I'll proceed with prying for now, and I'll start talking when we get up to the next section. Here we go, nice and clean. So there's no glass fragments, so there should be very little chance of breaking the replacement camera glass. As I just showed you, I'm going to use some B7000 frame adhesive. I'm just going to use it relatively sparingly, just enough that it's going to dust or fully seal around the outer perimeter, so at least then they'll stop any dust or water getting into the actual phone itself. Granted, there's no real way to be 100% certain, apart from replacing all glue and gaskets, that it's going to be 100% water resistant, waterproof, but I'll try and do as good as a job as I can. Now, getting it out of the plastic, I had to be a bit cautious not to get any fingerprints over it, and also make sure that it's facing the right direction and also the right orientation. So the glue itself on the heat pad has become slightly tacky, so I'm getting a bit of smears over here, but I'm not going to be concerned about that. Once it's dry, I'll be able to clean it off with some isopropyl. Even before it's dry, I'll be able to clean off some excess glue using that. So overall, pretty happy with the repair so far. Now I'll just try and get that into focus. There we go. Looking good. So from here, it's just a matter of reinstalling it back into the phone. So I'll just switch that over to it now. There we go. Now you can choose to replace the adhesive here. Typically I don't usually, just because the actual factory stuff usually retains enough stick that it does a fairly good bond. And then from there, you've done the long way to replace the S10 or S10 Plus rear camera glass. I hope this helps you, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.